All right, so I think hopefully this one is a lively conversation. I'm going to begin the conversation once we get 15 people in here. Today's discussion is going to be on sacrifice, right? The sacrifice. Initially, I wanted to call it sacrifice is necessary for anything to happen, or something along those lines, right? Like you have to sacrifice, or something like that. But I said, well, let me just open the floor. I don't want to give people commandments and shit like that. I want people to figure it out themselves and then let me know what they deduce from what I'm saying. So, um, the floor is open today. We're going to be discussing sacrifice, and we are going to be discussing more or less the necessity of it, but to really just ask me anything. If you have a question about sacrifice, if it looks crazy in your eyes, it's the most visual, kind of loud thing that is done in any African spirituality that practices it. So it ends up being the face of it, right? So if you want to talk about Odinani Ndibo, if you want to talk about Ifa, if you want to talk about Santeria, all these things, sacrifice ends up being the loudest part of the thing because it's this bright red visual display that could be jarring for some people. Damn, 13 already. What? Okay, maybe I set the goal too low. Okay, we got two more people in here. I'm gonna go ahead and start. He said, "All right." Aya Nelson says, or Anaya, Nelson says that I don't know why I can't say your name right now. He says that she's been curious about it. Odinani is based. Hell yeah, it's based. It's based. Ah, once we get 50, man, people ran away once I noticed that we're about 15, and they were everybody. I made it on time. Praise Chineke. He said, how do I effectively manifest something in my life? Mike, we'll talk about that. And there, okay, dude, what's up? Once we get 15 people in here, I'm going to go ahead and start answering the questions. So I love the fact that the questions are coming in. Once we get 15 people in here, I'm going to go ahead and answer the question. I heard an Igbo man say, you can't succeed in life without sacrifice. Yeah, see, people are better at titles than I am. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I was going to have a similar title to that, but he was very concise. So that's good. Yeah, yeah. Can you talk about animal? Oh, absolutely. That's specifically what I'm here to talk about. But I'll talk about other kinds of sacrifice too. But yeah, animal sacrifice, 100%. Which God to sacrifice to. Once we get 15 people in here, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. Ndewo. Aniaya. I'm sorry about that, by the way, earlier. But yeah, so once we get 15 in here, it's crazy too because we're at 13 people and only 8 of you know the tradition, right? We're here talking about the traditions of our ancestors, but why can't we do our own traditions, right? If you are in the Medicine Shell live stream, you have to hit the like button. It's our tradition. Okay? So right now, 8 of you guys have hit the like button. I don't know what I did to the other 5 or so. Somebody keeps coming in and out, right? So I don't know what I did to the other 5 or so, but if you have not hit the like button, hit that like button. It does a lot for the channel. It's the best way to contribute, and it's our tradition, right? We want to keep this thing going and so on and so forth. Hit the like button if you have not hit that like button. It's still at 12-8. 12-8. And once we get 15 people in here, I'm going to go ahead and discuss. I believe market day eke. What does that mean? I'm kind of confused on the market days. Okay, Mike, I'm going to answer that question for you once we go. Do you know, man, Mike's on fire. Mike, I'm really happy you got questions. And as you guys ask, I stay. Once the questions stop, I leave. So we are now at 10. Maybe I'm talking too much, right? Once we get 15 people in here, I'm going to go ahead and begin the discussion. I'll answer all the questions that have been asked. I'll answer even more questions and that kind of thing. Do you know anyone that can do palm reading you can refer me to? I'll answer that when time comes. Man, keep coming with the questions, by the way. Keep coming with the questions. I'll go ahead and just list them off and read them and answer them and that kind of thing before we start. For those who don't know, my name is Derek Ofadernwa. I'm the host of this here channel called The Medicine Shell, where I teach Odinani and Igbo, which is Igbo spirituality, culture, cosmology, ancestral thought is a better way to sum it up. And I teach ancestral thought and being. Right. If you are interested in supporting the movement and keeping the channel going and joining our Patreon community, the community is at patreon.com/ The Medicine Shell. Patreon.com/The Medicine Shell. So patrons get access to the full library that I use to do my research. So everything that I read to learn what I learn, though I do a lot more than reading, but like everything you need is there. I got books, articles, little research snippets and things like that. One of the things I've been doing lately is I've been finding scientific articles that kind of confirm a lot of the things I'm saying, like that our ancestors are saying as well, because people make the confusion that this isn't a science or this isn't an observation of actual reality, or that magical fairies came out of nowhere and invented science and nobody was doing science before them. So our spirituality is scientific, our science is spiritual. That's how our ancestors were, and so I put it all in there, and anything you need, anything you're interested in is all there. For those of you who are patrons, if you're looking at the library, there's like hundreds of books in there and things like that. So if it's like overwhelming, go to the recommended folder. Go to the recommended folder. It's got the top 5 books I would recommend. Actually, 3 of them are books and then 2 of them are like writings. But it's got in order, like read them in this specific order, right? If you follow that recommended folder, you'll have your own Medicine Shell channel by August. And speaking of August, those of you who not even want, right? Those of you who have told yourself, right? I only want people who are serious. Those of you who have confirmed within yourself, who have told your chi, and your chi has told back to you that you're going to learn the Igbo language, go ahead and sign up at www.gedu.me. Gedu is spelled Kedu.me. If somebody wants to be generous and type that in the chat so that people can click on it easier, that would be wonderful. I'd really appreciate that. Kedu.me. So it's an Igbo language school that I put together, right? Just close work on them. It's an Igbo language school that I put together with this team of teachers that are back in Nigeria, and we teach the language as it is. There's nobody. I'm gonna tell you now, nobody is teaching it the way we teach it, right? We have an entirely different approach. I didn't want to mimic like a Western language learning, hola, como estas language program. I wanted to teach the language in its most authentic form so that you understand the spirit of the language as you're learning the language, and the spirit of the words as you're learning the words. And that is the key to helping people realize that learning Igbo, at least conversational Igbo, is very easy. It is very easy. If you can count from 1 to 10, you can learn the Igbo language. Hey, we've reached 15. All right, so we've hit 15 people. 2 of them haven't hit like. I don't know who these people are. Hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button, but either way, we hit our goal. So we're gonna go ahead and begin the discussion. Now, as proper Nwafo, which is a child of Afo, or a son of the soil, as they say now in casual English. As a proper son of the soil, I have to begin this discussion by breaking Aji. Once I've broken Aji, we'll go ahead and begin the discussion, okay? Breaking Aji is a sacrifice, for those who don't know, okay? I've always told people that if you want to learn Odinani, if you want to learn what I teach, Odinani, if you want to learn Igbo culture, if you want to learn the Igbo language, start by learning how to break the kola nut. We actually teach you how to do this in Kedu, because I found that once people learn this, everything starts clicking. Everything starts clicking, right? Because this is the most brilliant miniature simulation of everything our ancestors say. And it starts from here and it spirals out from this particular place, right? So I'm going to do a ceremony of breaking the Aji, and you're going to understand how things work. Now I want you to, all the Aji I use, because I'm living in some white man's dungeon, but all of them are petrified at the moment. They're all hard, right? So I can't cut them or break them, right? Which is fine, right? That's fine. It doesn't matter. It's symbolic anyway. But these are petrified. They're hard. Normally they're not supposed to be that way, but I have to use the same one for like months at a time, just because they're not frequently available, right? So that being said, let me go ahead and begin by breaking the Aji. But otherwise, I would break it, and you would see. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because this thing I'm doing right here is a sacrifice. So just understand that, okay? Ekeke ruwa, okike na-enye ndụ, ọjị abịala, ana igwe, anyanwụ ụtụtụ, mmiri na-ezo ezo, mmiri na-enye ndụ, Ọjị abịala. Mbụ na-egede. Aja na na kpakpando eluigwe. Mmadụ na mmụọ. Ọjị abịala. Ọjị m ji n'aka bụ ọjị m ji ekele unu. Mana anyị bụ otu obi. Anyị nwere otu aka, otu mmụọ, otu ahụ na otu mmadụ. Anyị na-aga otu ije Chineke kere ka anyị gaa n'ụwa. Otu unu fụrụ m bụ otu m dị. Aka m dị ọcha, obi m dị ọcha, uche m dị ọcha. Ije m na-aga dị ọcha mana ọ bụ ije okike kere ka m gaa. Ije ke chi m bịara n'ụwa ka ọ gaa. Eme na mmụọ otu anyị na-eme na mmadụ. Anyị na-eme na mmadụ otu unu na-eme na mmụọ. Anyị na-aza aha unu na mmadụ. Na ị na-atụ aha anyị na mmụọ. Jishi ike na mmụọ otu anyị na-ejishi ike na mmadụ. Na anyị bụ otu ike Chineke nyere ka anyị mee nke Chineke chọrọ ka anyị mee n'ụwa. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị n'Eke, n'Orie, n'Afọ, na Nkwọ. Ise. All right, so the one I just did there, the G breaking I just did there, I overcomplicated it, right? So because I was having fun with it, I was feeling good, I was feeling comfortable, I was in a different place. But now that I'm coming back to the earth, I actually have like a simple breakdown on how to do Iwaji. This is the exact ceremony I just did. I have a simplified breakdown of how to do it and like key phrases you can use. And it's in, for those of you who are patrons, it's in the folder. It's in the recommended section. It's called Igofo by the Medicine Show, right? IGOOFO. Message me. I'll send you the link to it in the folder. For those of you who are not patrons, if you want to learn Igbo spirituality, Igbo culture, Igbo language, start with this. And it's a lot more simple than I made it look. I was trying to do bike tricks and stuff, right? I was feeling myself. So if you want to learn that, learn how to do that, and everything kind of, you'll understand what I'm saying, but everything breaks off from there. Like, oh, okay, it's just this in a different form, or it's just that in a different form, that kind of thing. So I'll do more. All right. The discussion we are having today is on Iwaji, the breaking of, I think I have something on my shirt, the breaking of, I got kids, y'all, so you guys are going to see stains on me. I'm not out here being cute. It's just not going to happen, man. That era is over. You guys going to see stains on me. I'm going to be finding stuff on myself and my hair as I'm doing these videos, man. I got kids. That's my excuse. All right, so Kaibido. Today we are talking about sacrifice. This is an Ask Me Anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the first question and start working down. Throw the questions at me as you go. I'm not going to be able to respond in real time. If somebody does like a super chat, I'll skip to your question, that kind of thing. But otherwise, it's, I'm just going to go based off of what you guys send. All right. So made it on time. Praise Chineke. Awesome. How do I effectively manifest something into my life? That is a very big, broad question, right? But as far as manifestation goes, in the things you want to manifest into your life require two things. So when we go to our ancestors in Odinani, and we go and speak to our ancestors and go and speak to our chi in Odinani, and we speak to all these different forces, right? So as you heard, when I was doing the Iwaji, what I was saying was Eke Keruwa, right? Eke, who creates the universe, who created the universe, which it doesn't make sense in English. Creation, who created the universe, but in Igbo, it's perfectly fine. Okike, the creator, right? I call those two names, right? It's my way of saying Eke na Chi or Chineke, however you guys want to put it, all right? And then I said Ajana, right? Or I said Ananigwe. I said Miri, Nemiri, or Shimiri. I said Anyanwu. I said all these different abara, right? So if you're new to my channel, the abara are the forces, the elements it takes to make up existence. Think about the abara as a spiritual periodic table of elements. Like in science, they have the periodic table of elements, copper. These are all the things it takes to make up the known universe. The abara are the things it takes to make the physical and spiritual universe, right? Anyanwu, sun, Ana, earth, all these different things, the stars, that kind of thing. So I called all of them. I called Mbunegede. According to Ndibo, We come from two ancestors. Ndimbu Nandiegede. Ndimbu Nandiegede. Ndimbu were the first people, were the absolute very, very first people. I've heard differing accounts on who these people were. Very consistently, it is said that they are dwarves, or at least very small. It is also said very consistently that they were so connected to existence that they did not need to eat, right? They did not need to eat, they did not need to sleep, and all these different things. And then Ndiegede, or the ancestors that came after who we descend from. These are the ancestors that came after death, it is said, right? After death became a thing, these ancestors came by, right? Or became a part of our known universe. These are the ancestors that came afterwards. These are the ancestors that eat and have to figure out the world, that had to figure out their world and that kind of thing, and so forth. So we are a combination of these two things: those who intuitively know creation and those who um, um, figure it out through intellect. We are a combination of those two. I called them bunegede. I called all these different things. Now, what am I doing, right? What am I doing? When I'm manifesting something, in order for me to manifest something, I'm going to use the physical body. If these are all the elements of creation, if these are all the elements of creation, right? Darius, I see your super chat. I appreciate it, man. Rienu, mono, tuono. So I just had a funny thought. I'll get back to it. So if these are all the elements of creation, if I want something to happen, I need them all to agree to what I want to happen, right? This is why when you wake up or when you go to your ancestors, you call them by name, right? Let's say it's like Richard, Dwayne, David, Lucius. You call their names, that kind of thing. You call their names. Why are you calling their names? You are asking them, or how do I put it this way? I'm trying to explain it in English. Because in Igbo, you just say kwe, which is will or agree or will it, right? So you are asking all these forces to agree. And what you're doing is you hello, I acknowledge you, acknowledge you, acknowledge you. You're saying hello to all of them, right? Once you've said hello to everything you think is relevant to what you wish to manifest, you then say, this is what I want to do, right? This is what I'm going to do, not even want. This is what I'm going to do. I need you with me. I need you to agree, right? Whenever Igbo people begin a meeting, we're hyper democratic people. Whenever we begin a meeting, we begin with the phrase Igbo kwenu, which means Igbos agree. It's hard. I mean, agree is like, it's not just, doesn't justify the phrase, but we use agree. Igbos agree, or Igbos will it. And then if they will it, they say, yeah, you are asking all these people in the room for permission to speak, no matter who you are. You can be the highest person, the lowest person. You're going to stand up and say Igbo kwenu. You're going to ask them to speak. And if they don't say, if the response is not, if they didn't say it with their spirit, if they said, you're going to say it again. Igbo kwenu. You understand? Once you ginger them up, you get them pumped up. I've got the room. I have complete consensus to go ahead and speak, right? And this is what you're doing with your ancestors. This is what you're doing when you go to your altar. This is what you're doing when you're manifesting. That's why I said if you want to learn anything, start with Iwaji, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm saying to all these forces, agree, agree, agree. I need you guys to listen, to gather around. Okay, I'm moving in this direction. I need you to agree with me. Now, while I was Greeking theology, there was something I said. I said that my hands are clean. My heart is clean. My hands are clean means I haven't desecrated my hands. I haven't put it in the place it wasn't supposed to be. I'm not here taking what does not belong to me. I'm not using it to hurt people or disrupt the balance of the universe, right? So my hands are clean, right? And figuratively and literally, before I speak to my ancestors, before I hold on to, I wash my hands or I shower. I just got out of the shower, in fact, right? My heart is clean, right? That's why I said that. My heart is clean. You understand? My mind is clean. I listed all these different parts of my body. They're all clean. You understand? That kind of thing. The journey I'm walking is what I said is clean. The path I'm on is clean because I'm walking. I actually said we are walking the path that Chineke created us to walk. You understand? So the first thing I did is I acknowledged all of my forces, all my ancestors and so forth. And then I gave my credentials, right? I need you to agree with me, but listen, I'm not using my hands to do something they're not supposed to do. My heart is clean. I'm walking with all fondo, right? I don't want to go into a full explanation because I got a lot of questions to get to. But I'm walking in with truth and justice. I'm walking the righteous path. I'm not there's no reason for the universe to be against me. I just said that right there, right? I'm pure. Because all of these forces are not going to work with somebody who's not who they're not supposed to work with, right? So I'm saying, hey, these are all my credentials, that kind of thing. For those of you, and I always use this example, for those of you who are familiar with the 48 laws of Ma'at, right? Our European cousins, right, brothers and sisters, they have taught this concept of 48 laws of Ma'at like it was like the commandments of Egypt, right? Like, oh, these are the commandments. Like, that's not what it is. I completely understand what that person was doing when they wrote that, because it's the same thing we Igbo people do, right? It's not thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. It's I have not, I have not, I have not. This person said 48 different examples of why they are worthy of speaking to their creator, or having their creator lend them an ear, right? And so from there, your worthiness, and you say, I'm moving in this direction. I need you with me. If this is not for me, show me. If this is not for me, show me. You understand? There's a thing in Igbo thoughts, or an ilu. Why am I saying thing in Igbo thought? There's an ilu that says, "Onye ekwe, chi ekwe," that if you will it, your chi will it, right? But you have to have that conversation. So you talk to your chi. This is the direction I'm moving in. I need you to move with me, and so forth. That's how you manifest things, right? So it could be, hey, I'm going to study architecture, right? I've never looked at a blueprint in my life, but I want to study architecture. This is the direction I'm going in. I need you guys to be with me. If it's not for me, show me, right? If it's not for me, show me, because I'm not here to take what doesn't belong to me. I'm not manifesting what doesn't belong to me, right? That kind of thing. So, Adema. Oh, I think I hit the wrong button. All right, good. So I hope that kind of answers the question. If it doesn't, ask follow-up questions. That's fine. I've been curious about sacrifice. So Denani is based, very based. Which gods are sacrificed to? Very good question. So the forces you would sacrifice to are almost always the feminine ones in the Igbo thoughts. It is unanimously, it's always the feminine ones. You don't tend to sacrifice to the masculine ones. You don't sacrifice to Chuku. You don't necessarily sacrifice to your chi, but you can sacrifice to this force known as your chiwa, which is your agon, which is both, it's two-headed. It has a male head and a female head. You understand? But it's the female head that receives the sacrifice anyway. Nagon, Rarobinagon, right? So it's usually the female ones that you sacrifice to. There's a reason for that. I actually have a video called Sacrifice Explained, or Itraja. I should have put it as the thing on the pinned it at the top. That kind of thing. Let me see if Darius had a question. Okay, Darius had a question because he gave a donation, so I'm going to go straight to his. Are libations considered a form of sacrifice? Absolutely. Absolutely. And Darius, you'll understand with libations is you pour the libations before you take a drink. You understand? You pour that libation before you take a drink. Because if you are pouring this for the deceased, that deceased person is your elder, right? The journey of life, they have reached a different milestone before you have, right? This is your elder now. And in our culture, the elders eat first. We serve the elders first before we serve children. You understand? The elders eat first. So the deceased eat first. The earth eats first. The earth is our senior, right? She's our mother. So of course she's going to get her food first. You understand? That type of thing. So all these different forces are going to get theirs first. So you open, let's say you're pouring libations, you open the drink, you pour the drink first, then you take. Traditionally, if I were doing this proper, if this wasn't petrified, I would have cut off a little piece and put it to the earth first before I take my own. I would have cut and dropped one before I take my own. If I'm breaking a kola nut, I'm going to drop a piece before I take my own, before we all eat, right? Or there's going to be one that's cut and left aside that it's not for anybody to eat, that kind of thing, right? I might throw one over my shoulder. You'll see people break Aji and they'll throw a part outside into nature, right? Into nature first. It's the same thing as libations. So Darius, I appreciate the donation. I think that I hope that was the question tied to it and that kind of thing. So I hear an Igbo man say that you cannot succeed in life without sacrifice. You absolutely cannot succeed in life without sacrifice, right? You cannot make anything move from one point to another without giving something. You cannot put something in a new space without removing what already sits there, right? That kind of thing. In order for you to, let's make it casual, right? For you to fall in love with a new person, you have to fall out of love with the person you were previously in love with. You understand? In order for me to put more gas in the tank, I have to burn the gas that's already there. You understand? This works. We see this in every single thing we do. In order for me to get up and walk, I have to burn energy. Something has to go. Something has to give in order for me to do something, in order for something else to happen, change to happen. Energy must convert from one place to another. And there's a little bit more to sacrifice too, but that person, in order to succeed in life, you can't succeed in life without sacrifice. 100%. 100%. Right? It in whatever shape you want to look at it. If you want to look at it in physics, that's the law. If you want to look at it spiritually, that is the law. If you want to look at it in like personal discipline and success and things like that, that is the law. Something has to give, right? If I want to do well and maybe be more productive, right? But I'm waking up at noon every single day because I like to wake up at noon. I have to sacrifice that thing I like. I have to sacrifice and say, you know, I'm gonna have to wake up at 5. I can get a lot more done if I wake up at 5, right? And make that sacrifice, even if it hurts, even if we don't like it, right? There's a part of you, there's a part of your spirit that allows you to do this. And this is your ikenga. This is your ikenga. The ikenga is known as the cult of the right hand. They call it, right? It's your right hand, right? Your ikenga is what your chi gives you to do what your chi brought you to do. It is what your chi gives you to be what your chi brought you to be. So while the forces of the world are moving in any direction they can, your ikenga has the power to wrestle them, right? So if you want to be an NBA player, but you're short, you would have to strengthen or activate your ikenga to give you the extra strength to do that thing despite your circumstance, right? If you want to become more disciplined, you'd have to build a stronger relationship with your ikenga. If you want to become braver, okay, I'm afraid, but I'm going to do this anyway. If you want to overcome feeling, overcome emotion, overcome these things, it comes from your ikenga. It's your ikenga that does that thing. That's part of you that does that. Because that's the thing your chi gave you to. It's the flat. If it's the room is dark, that's the flashlight your chi gave you. That is your right of correction, your ability to negate or change or alter what is going on in the world. That is your ikenga, right? You have that part of you. And that ikenga works on the principle of sacrifice. It is powered by sacrifice. The most common sacrifice given to the ikenga, when you have a physical ikenga, you give a small sacrifice, right? There's an ilu that says, when a poor man sacrifices a goat, he has sacrificed a cow, right? So the first thing you give to the ikenga is the thing that you can afford, the thing that you can access. But it has to be something that's a little bit difficult, right? So if I'm very poor and it's hard for me to afford a chicken, I'll give a chicken, but I can also afford it fine. I'll give a chicken and I'll say, this is what I'm going to go do. I'm going to this direction to do this thing. When I'm done, I'm going to bring a cow. I'm giving you a chicken right now. When I'm done, I'm going to bring a cow. I'm giving you Jack Daniels right now. When I'm done, I'm going to bring, I don't know, what's the expensive, what's all these rapper ass alcohols? Douce, right? I'll bring you, this is Jack Daniels, I'm coming back with the Douce, that kind of thing, right? That is what your ikenga is. That is a small example of how your ikenga works. You understand, right? So everything in the world, that ikenga is your ability to do. It is what your chi gives you so that you can do. And it works on the principle of sacrifice, right? Delayed gratis. I can't talk. I really can't talk today. Delayed gratis, whatever. Delaying feeling good, right? Losing something right now to have something later on. Making an investment. I'm putting this small thing in here. By the time we're done with this journey, I'll have enough power to bring something greater, right? I'll have enough power to bring the Douce. I'll have enough power to bring the cow, whichever one your culture says is normal, right? That kind of thing. Can you talk about animal sacrifice? Ask me anything you want about animal sacrifice. I believe my market day is Eke. What does this mean? I'm kind of confused. Eke day means that is when your spiritual market is open. That's when your you're happening, right? That's when the universe is in your house, that type of thing. And so if Eke is your day, this would be a good day for you to, okay, this is the day I visit my altar, right? Traditionally, Eke Day, nothing is open except the community market. We don't do anything on Eke Day. A really Igbo person won't do anything on Eke Day except go to the market. That's the only thing that's open. You understand? But you're not going to the farm. You're not going to fight. You're not going to argue. You're not going to say anything you don't mean. You understand, right? So Eke Day, treat it the way Jewish people treat like a Sabbath. And if it is your day, that would be a great day for you to manifest, to go to your altar and say, hey, this is where the direction we're going. This is what I'm doing, because your spiritual market is open on that day. This is when you're okay. The ball's in your court. What are we going to do? You're in charge that day. So that's what that means. Someone says they're consuming Adema. Does the size of the animal matter in sacrifice, like chicken, goat, cow, etc.? It's all symbolic. It's all symbolic, right? It's just symbols. Some things require some specific types of sacrifice, right? So the once a year, it's not required, but once a year in some communities, they'll do a sacrifice to Igwe or Amadioha, and they'll give a ram, right? If it's Igwe or Amadioha, it's a ram, right? Now, earlier I said it's usually the feminine ones. This is a once in a year sacrifice. It's not necessary. You don't need to do it. It's just kind of like a Thanksgiving, right? That kind of thing. So they'll do a ram if it's Amadioha. Most of the time, but this is all symbols. It just means I'm including you in my meal, or I'm giving a little bit of what I have. That's all it is. It's just symbols. I'm including you in my meal. I'm giving a little bit of what I have. So like an elephant, right? You don't need to like bring an elephant. Oh, I brought an elephant, so magic is gonna happen for me because this guy brought like a rat or something. I don't know. But in your head, whatever the symbolizes, what the rat symbol is, what you're giving. You understand? What the chicken symbolizes is what you're giving. So one of the reasons I wanted to have this discussion is because sacrifice is very jarring to a Western mind, right? Or a Western in West, like someone who grew up in the West and that kind of thing. It's jarring. It's like, oh my God, what's going on, right? But what makes it jarring? Well, we don't understand that in order to eat meat, you have to kill it. We don't see that thing is kept away from us, right? In the West, animals are like cartoons that talk to us, right? Right? So the idea of killing one is madness, right? And you'll talk about it all day, and then you'll go eat a steak or you'll go eat chicken, things like that, and somebody else did that for you, right? Somebody else did that thing for you. So you just see this slab of pink and this slab of yellow and this slab of white, and you say, okay, this is my food, and that kind of thing. In other societies, before we eat chicken, I have to kill a chicken, right? But remember, the same thing with the orgy, when the first piece went to the earth. The same thing with the libation, where the first spill went to the earth. The first cut and the blood, if we're eating a proper meal, the first is going to go to the earth. The blood is going to go to the earth. The blood is going to go to the ancestors. The blood is going to go, we're not eating the first thing. The nature eats before we eat. Nature eats before we eat. Now, I don't know what your scale of belief is and things like that, but if I want to say it in the most like everyday, mundane ways, one of the absolute best things you can put in soil is blood. One of the absolute best things you can put in soil is blood. Ask anybody who gardens or farms if they're aware of this. Blood as a fertilizer, right? It is one of the absolute best things you can put in soil is blood. You understand? So if that's the term you need to understand it, that's just take that. You understand? But there's a lot more to it, right? That kind of thing. When you're ready for that, I'll give you that too. But the first thing, same to libations, I open the bottle, I spill a little bit. I break the orgy. I'm going to pass this around the room. A little bit is going to go to the first one's going to go to the earth. I kill my chicken the proper way, in a way that respects the chicken. It respects me and respects what created the two of us, right? I kill that chicken. I give some to the earth. That earth will give back to something else. That something else will eat it. Another chicken will come and eat that thing. And then I'll come and eat that one chicken and I'll give more back to the earth. And the cycle will continue. Or I go and I give some to the river, and that river feeds from it, and its children grow, and then they give me back some fish, right? That kind of thing. That's what's going on. So when it's because that's one of the most like vivid aspects of African spirituality is the sacrifice. Right? I'll be, oh, it's so crazy. He spilled blood on it. If you eat meat, that happens, right? If you eat meat, that happens. There is blood will be spilled. It happens. But there's a difference between a person that says that this blood is trash, right? And this blood is what I have to offer to the earth and my ancestors and the people that came before me, and this chicken's honor. And this chicken's honor, right? If in my culture, if I die and you don't put me back into the earth, you've given me the level of insult you've given me is unfathomable. Like there's no, as in, the level of insult you've given me by not putting me back in the earth after I die is high. So, all right, you cut the chicken, you give a part of it back to the earth. It's respects are paid in all different directions, that kind of thing, and then we can continue because that blood will be spilled. But imagine somebody kills you and they say this person's blood is trash. There's so much hate in that act, right? There's so much hate in a bunch of something's blood just in a room. I'm probably gonna demonetize for this conversation, but and then you're just sweeping it away with a big broom, just sweeping it away, and it just goes in the toilet and that kind of thing, right? Or goes into the same place that the pipes that the toilet uses, the plumbing, I guess they call it, right? I don't know. I couldn't think of the term. It goes into the sewer and the gutter and that kind of thing. It's a big difference, right? If you're going to eat, a sacrifice has been made. Earlier, we were saying, what were we saying? Somebody said, an Igbo person said that nothing happens without sacrifice. If you are going to eat, a sacrifice has been made. Was it done properly, right? There's a reason, Muslims have a certain way they do their own. Jewish people have a way they do their own. We have a way we do our own as well. You understand? So that kind of thing. So why does it need to be a specific type of animal like a rooster instead of a regular chicken? It's what the animal symbolizes. It's the symbol behind the animal, right? So if you're being asked for, like, if it's something pertaining to children, I want to have kids and that type of thing, you'll see eggs. Sometimes eggs will be involved, right? If it is something pertaining to like justice, rams, roosters, that type of thing will now be involved. Chickens are very universal. You understand? Everybody eats chicken. Everything eats chicken. So chickens are very, very universal. That kind of thing. I've even seen there's a very interesting sacrifice that doesn't involve killing the animal. When an individual makes an appeal to Amadioha, they will take a pigeon, sometimes known in American Western culture as a dove, and they will tell the dove their appeal, and they will release that dove into the air towards Amadioha. That kind of thing. That's a sacrifice. It doesn't. You don't have to kill the dove. You don't kill the dove, but that's a sacrifice. You put the message on the dove and you release it. All right, that's a sacrifice. It is an African sacrifice. You've seen it, in different places, but just know where it came from. So yeah, it's what the animal symbolizes. It's what the animal symbolizes. That kind of thing. Do you know anyone that can palm read, refer me to? So I do. The only person I know that does akaraka palm reading is a Dibia in Owerri. And my dad, actually, I called my dad. I was like, hey, I'm going to do a video on palm reading. Do you know anybody who does it? And he says, no, but I can look. And then he called back and he says, yeah, I know a guy in Owerri. But this person very specifically said he doesn't want his name out there, and that if I'm... He doesn't want anybody to know his name, and he's not doing anything with the internet. So if somebody wants to call him or email him, he's not doing any of that, right? At the time, this is complicated Nigerian politics, the Nigerian government was looking for Dibias. And so it was strange to him that this older man was coming to get a reading because typically, and he told my dad, the only people that get readings from him are like church women. And so he thought my dad was the feds, and so he doesn't want anything to do with the internet and so forth. But it is something that I've become very interested in. I'm trying to get reconnected to him so that I can learn, and then from there I can help people do that if they need. But I don't know anybody who does palm reading at the moment in the Igbo way. In the Igbo way. What are your thoughts on astral projection, lucid dreaming? It's powerful stuff. Mike, if you're a patron, I don't know if this is the mic I'm thinking. There's a mic I'm thinking that you are. But if you're a patron, go to the more folder. I have this really interesting, or just if you're a patron, message me. I'll send you a link to the article. There's this really interesting article from the CIA, and it is about their experiments with astral projection and so forth. And it got so deep that they had to go back to Kemetic texts on the process to figure out why so many of them were dying while trying it. Not saying you're going to die, because you're probably not doing what they were planning on doing. They were trying to go kill people with it, right? And then once they started doing that, they started dropping dead. So there's this article they wrote, and it breaks down everything. I have it in my folder, so if you're interested, message me, that kind of thing. I don't even know if I should be saying this out loud. I got a lot of stuff in there that I wouldn't normally just say, hey, I got that in there. It's just, if you got one, I think you'd be interested. But what I think, it's really powerful stuff. It's really interesting, and I think it's real. He said my name right, Abim. Cool. How many gods are there in Odinani? Two. Chineke. Kedu. What does your last name mean? Oh, that's a cool question. Yeah, so my last name is Ofoderenwa, which is the Ofo is within the child. The Ofo is the thing I was, no, I don't think I talked about it today. Yeah, I did. I brought it up. So the Ofo is a staff, right? Anytime you are given authority to do something, you receive this staff. So if the people choose me to be their leader, I now have the Ofo. They give me this particular staff. If my chi creates me to I don't know, be a dibia, my chi has given me that Ofo, a staff, right? The Ofo. That staff, while holding it, I am representing a divine mandate. This is no longer a matter of we voted for Joe Biden, we voted for this one or this one. If you are holding Ofo, you are holding a divine mandate, right? But typically, people think that the Ofo is like is just the stick. It's not the stick. The staff represents the spirit, what exists in spirit. We are creating a physical form of something we recognize your spirit has, right? And so if a person has an Ofo, nothing can destroy them or defeat them or overcome them so long as they are in the space of what their chi made them to be, right? There's nothing I can do that'll stop the sun from being the sun, because the sun is doing what its chi has the Ofo to do that thing, to be that thing, to be hot and do all that stuff, right? And if it's going to go away, it's going to go away in the time of its creator, not in my time, not because I shot a gun at it or fired a rocket at it and that kind of thing. You understand, right? So that's what the Ofo is. It's a divine mandate. And my name says the Ofo is within the child, right? Ofo derengwa, the Ofo is within the child. Listen, y'all, I keep telling you to sign up for Kedu and learn some damn Igbo. This language is deep. Like, there's nothing casual in the Igbo language. Everything is deep. It's in there. There's layers. Now, we can talk on a casual level, and then if we want to go further in, we're going to use the exact same words, and all of a sudden we're doing it. It's a phenomenal thing, right? If you haven't told yourself you're going to learn your ancestral language yet, first of all, make a vow. Say, I'm going to learn this language, and then sign up for Kedu. We're starting August 2026, right? That kind of thing. So that's everything I just said. That's what my last name means. The Ofo Derenwa. You understand? Ofo Derenwa. The child that with the Ofo within, and there's an Ofo within the child. That kind of thing, right? Awesome. Thank you. I got a lot of questions. Keep them coming. I'll do more. So I wish I had to, if I wish to start something like a successful business or organization, Can I sacrifice to it? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So one of the things when you're starting a business or an organization, we had this discussion. I don't know if you're a patron, but we had a group study on this exact topic in Patreon. And the topic was like the spirit of like a business and things like that, businesses, organizations, nonprofit, and so forth. So what our ancestors would do is you're going to identify whichever spirit, or let me say, not say spirit, person, whatever person brought this thing into the world, right? Whatever person brought this thing into the world. So if I want to be a pilot, I might be talking about the Wright brothers, right? If I want to get into ethanol, I might be talking about George Washington Carver, right? If I want to, what's another one? I mean, you know what I mean, right? That kind of thing. Whatever person brought this thing into the world, you understand? You're going to give an acknowledgement to that person. I'm going to say person, but by this point, most of them are spirits. Whatever spirit brought this into the world, you're going to give an acknowledgement to that person, right? Because that is the first person that their chi gave the offer to bring this into the world. And therefore, that person is the spirit of that thing, right? That person is the spirit of that thing. You understand? That's the overseer. So a lot of communities that do ironsmithing, before you learn how to do an ironsmith, you're going to give a sacrifice to the spirit that brought the person that brought that thing into the world. You're going to say, I'm coming into your world to complete your work, right? Walk with me. And you're going to live like they lived. Because if they were successful in doing that thing, they followed the rules of that awful, right? Now, it doesn't mean that oh, okay, well, I want to, I don't know, start casinos. I need to join the mafia. You don't necessarily need to do it like book by that kind of thing. Even though I don't think they're the ones that started casinos. I don't know, right? You don't need to like join an Italian mafia or something like that, right? That's not the point. Bugsy Siegel, all that stuff, right? But you can look at his spirit. What was the spirit of the person who started that thing? And you can embody that thing or at least pay respects to it, right? Now, sacrifice is you give a little, you give what you have is one principle. You give what you have and you give what that thing receives. You give what the thing you're sacrificing to receives, right? So if I'm trying to think of like a one concrete example that there's no well actually to it, right? All right, so if you want if you want to get into doing slave rebellions, right, you may want to give a sacrifice to the spirit of like Nat Turner or Harriet Tubman, right? But if you know that Nat Turner or Harriet Tubman, let's say freedom fighting, if you know, they're definitely shutting this channel down, man. So, okay, follow me on Instagram, guys. But if you're gonna give something to those spirits, but if you know that they didn't drink, you don't bring alcohol, right? If you know that they liked a cigar, bring a cigar, take a cigar, right? Symbolically give a cigar to the earth, right? That kind of thing, right? If you know where they're buried, go leave something there and say, pay your respects. All you're doing is paying your respects. That hey, I'm that all for you were given. I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna walk with it. That staff of authority, that mandates you had, I'm gonna walk with it. But I'm gonna pay respects to the holder first before I go about and do what I'm doing. When we had our group study, we talked about the Apollo Theater. The Apollo Theater started, according to the story, that funny enough, I think one of the patrons shared. This was in the same group study we're having on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, get on Patreon. These group studies are like phenomenal. Like this is baby talk compared to what we do there. And so one of the traditions in the Apollo is you rub a stump before you go perform. Well, what is that stump? That stump was a tree. And the tree was, people would go under that tree and they would perform their different talents and entertain each other, right? It was a means of building community under this tree because they didn't have a physical building to represent themselves. And over time, this group was able to buy a building and the tree was cut down, right? But they saved the stump so that anybody who wants to perform at the Apollo, you're going to rub the stump first and then you go perform. You understand? That's all it is. So whatever it is you want to do, identify the spirit of that thing, or find something that represents the spirit of that thing and give what you have to it, right? And do its will. Do its will. If, oh, something went wrong. How do you? Guys, let me know if I lost my connection. Start talking about gang. Oh, shit. Identify the spirit that oversees or brought that thing into the world and pay respects. Guys, let me know if I'm disconnected. Am I disconnected? Person one says you're fine. Okay, because it keeps saying something went wrong. Okay, AKA, shut up. I'll do. Yeah. Okay, let me go back. Are libations okay? Hey, Darius, I apologize for missing your initial question. Are libations considered disrespect without doing oral hygiene first? Oh, I think so. But like, there's different ways of doing libation. So some people just pour, some people will put it in their mouth and they'll spit. But if your mouth isn't clean, it's just, you know what that symbolizes. A dirty mouth is a dirty mouth. I would clean your mouth first. And then somebody else left a D. And there were one there. Thank you very much. I appreciate the donation. I like that you guys donate without me having to do gang. You know? Have you guys seen that on TikTok? Strong woman. Shout out to her, man. Whatever the hell she's doing. But yeah, I'll do mine. So let me find more questions. Is Omomo related to physical strength? No. Procreative health. Ikenga allows a woman force a baby out. No, it's not your Ikenga that brings a baby out. It's the Omomo. Yeah, it takes you have to endure pain and things like that, but it's in the tide of nature. You're moving in the tide of nature. So that particular flow of nature hurts. To give birth, there's pain. It's life risking, right? But ikenga is more like lifting a boulder, right? I'm doing something outside of the bounds of nature, right? Oh, jeez. Right? That's the additional strength I need to do that thing. I keep getting this notification that says something went wrong, try again. So if I have disconnected, and if you guys know me on, like, you follow me on Instagram, just message me or something so I can get a notification, right? I'll do my. So no, Omomo is not related to the strength necessary to give birth. Um, it's there's no, whether or not you have strength, that baby's gonna come out. Whether or not you have strength, the baby's gonna come out. Now, if you have to apply an extraordinary amount of strength, there's something else going on. It's not necessarily the nature of that, right? Strong or not, the baby's going to come out. It's within flow of nature. If I want to punch a hole through this wall, that's ikenga. I have to do something. Not Namdi ending your. Funny enough, it's my daughter, Ola. It's my daughter. Namdi is a clean freak. Namdi will tell me I have a stain on me. My daughter will come and just smear it on, just that kind of thing. So it's all good. It's funny how kids are always different from each other. Okay, I think I'm missing questions. Thank you for upping the floor open. Which animals are related to sacrifice? Animal symbolism. Okay, so universal. The chicken is universal. The lizard is seen as an abnormal sacrifice. It's not seen as good, right? Though there are situations where you need to give a lizard. The lizard in a lot of Ilu proverbs, lizard sacrifice is used to say worthless offering or inadequate investment, right? That kind of thing. So no lizards. Best way to understand, nothing you wouldn't eat. Nothing you yourself would not eat, right? I've never seen a pig being sacrificed if you eat pork, so cancel that. Maybe we eat some bugged out things right now in 2023, so I've never seen a pig being sacrificed in my life. Let's keep that one off. Chicken, cow, things that you would probably eat. If you're vegan, give vegetables. It's a controversial thing for me to say. People will argue with me. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's what you're giving a little bit of what you have. And if it's not worthy to enter your temple, it's not worthy to go into another temple. This is from your own perception. So maybe a person has perceived meat is not worthy of entering me. Therefore, this person is going to give vegetables when they have the chance, that kind of thing. So even like if you look at traditions like hoodoo or Santeria and things like that, you'll just see that the sacrifice is a little bit of a cooked meal. right? So we're eating pizza today. A little bit of that pizza is going to the altar, that kind of thing. It's the exact same thing as far as Odinani goes. You're giving a little bit of what you have. It's an inclusive tradition. I am including you in what I'm doing. So if you're sacrificing a chicken, you're gonna eat chicken that evening, right? You're killing it to eat it, right? If you don't eat chicken, don't give chicken, right? Imagine you go to somebody's house and they're like, oh, Derek, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. I appreciate you. Hey, I want to talk to you about something, man. Here's something to eat. And they're just sitting there watching. They're not eating it. They're just watching you eat it. That kind of thing. Yeah, just go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. And then you go, oh, you want some? You look, no, I'm good. No, don't give me that. Don't give me that. Just go ahead, go ahead. That's that's the same thing. So you're given a little bit of what you have. Chicken, cow, goats, ram are all universal. Sheep, whatever. It's all very universal. Um, by the way, check with your state laws. Uh, check with your state laws. I actually saw a Santeria woman won a case somewhere that she can do sacrifices because it's her religion. But check your state laws. I don't want to hear a Florida man kills neighbor's chicken because Nigerian YouTube blah blah blah. I don't want to hear that. So if you do anything because that's you, check your laws. Don't violate the law of the land before you do something. What does the Oshi mean? Oshi is like source, where it comes from, where we come from. Source, Oshi, Oshiribia, that kind of thing. So source, where things come from. Oshimiri describes any profoundly deep water. It's a water so deep that you're not even going to be able to swim it. So like an ocean, right? That kind of thing. But it also is source water, where things come from. The source water. It literally says source water, that kind of thing. The knowledge is refreshing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dalo. Especially unlearning a religion that has a servant master type relationship. Yeah, yeah. You don't. This is not a servant master thing. People, oh, is this allowed in Odinai? That's not what's going on, right? The best way for me to contextualize that is you would never say, is this allowed in science? If it wasn't allowed, you couldn't do it. And it's not about if allowed. Yeah, you can jump off a bridge and you'll die, right? And all of that is science. You can jump off a bridge and you'll die. All of that is Odinani. It's the same thing, right? It's the exact same thing, that kind of thing. So it's not like a servant master thing, right? Earlier, and I had a discussion. Somebody I had a discussion with. It was one of the patrons. So shout out to him. But he actually pointed this out to me. He said that in the Ten Commandments is thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that, thou shalt not do this, that kind of thing. And then if you look at like Igolfo or the 48 Laws of Ma'at or any like African type of spiritual tradition is I have not, I have not, I have not, I have not. You understand? I have not. So there's not this overforce telling me, it's not like an overforce that has monopoly of good telling me who does not have good what I need to do to live up to the standard of good. Rather, it is me who is good and you who is good showing the goodness within you, right? Showing the goodness within you. Because if I'm following a commandment, am I really a good person or am I an obedient person? Those are two different things. The Nazis were very obedient. I think notoriously, like Nazi soldiers, I don't know if this is like a folklore, but notoriously Nazi soldiers, if you're running at them and they haven't been told to shoot you, they're not going to shoot you, even if you have a gun. Very obedient, right? But if you dig and see what they're doing, that kind of thing. I don't know if they're obedient and good, right? So the goodness within you, you're showing it, you're shining it out, right? That kind of thing. So it's not like a servant-master relationship. You understand? It's just whatever, people, forces interacting. Darius, would you pass someone a drink that you drink from with your breath kicking? Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So Darius, I think Darius gets the point. But yeah, exactly. I'm so behind, man. I'm so behind. So, but yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. So it's just like there's an ilu that says a child who washes their hands can eat with kings, right? Or eat with the elders. Somehow they're the same thing. A child who washes their hands can eat with the kings, can eat among kings. Now, to understand this, in Igbo culture, adults eat separate from children. But if a child has shown that they have that thing in them that an adult has in them that makes them an adult, they can go ahead and come and eat with us, right? I say adults, really men separate from children, that kind of thing, right? But if you have that thing in you that makes you a man, a matured man, or a king, if you're a king within, but you're still a kid, we'll acknowledge you as a king within, right? Now I'm going too deep. I think the breath kicking example was perfect, right? So if I'm coming to you, if I'm coming to my altar and I'm a worthy representative of my ancestors, and I got bad breath, I got things in my nails and things like I don't know, I don't have the right message, right? Or I'm offering you a drink as a person, and I took a sip and I hand it to you, and my breath is crazy. You're not going to drink. It's almost an insult, right? So I wasn't worthy for you to put some mouthwash or some floss or something, right? That kind of thing. Nyago, he said. Why don't you sacrifice to Chuku? I heard the same thing among the Akan. Oh, because you don't sacrifice to Chuku because Chuku is beyond that. Chuku is sacrifice. God, there's too much to this. Let me say it this way. Everything Chuku wants done is going to happen. It's already been written. It has already been written. It's done. It's already been done. No matter how I read the book, it's never going to change that book. It's not going to affect the author. That kind of thing. When we're talking about sacrifice, we're talking about this realm we live in. The realm we live in is the realm of twos. The world is the world of twos. It works on the principle of exchange. In order for something to be here, something has to move over here. Right? In order for something to be over here, something has to move over here. Chuku exists on a different scale, on a different place, on a different dimension, whatever you want to call it. And in that space, it's not exchange based. There's no exchange, right? But to put it simply, everything Chuku wants done is already going to happen. It's already going to be, which involves your birth and you dying, all of it. So Chuku, if you can't kill a cow and give to Chuku, you can't cut off my thumb and give it to me as a gift. I think that's the best way to put it. It's different from the point I was making initially, but you can't cut off a piece of my thumb and give it to me as a gift, right? But within my body, blood is flowing from here to there. There's exchange happening, but you can't pull my blood out and give it back to me as a gift. That kind of thing. It doesn't make sense. The thing you're offering is already of Chuku. And whatever is going to happen is going to happen, right? But within that body, blood is going to move over here and there, and air is going to go in here and come out this way and that kind of thing, right? But you can't take my lungs out and give it back to me as a gift. So yeah, you don't sacrifice to Chuku. Whatever Chuku's will is complete. It's done. There's nothing to it, and that kind of thing. And Chuku doesn't like have favorites or favor or that kind of thing. It's just what it is. Okay, so that was a good answer, Jada. I think those forces, water and earth, are closest to us. What do you call her? Earth. Earth is Allah. Allah. I always say Anna, even though in my dialect like to say Ali, right? Allah is Central Igbo, so I'll use Allah. A-L-A. But one, I pronounce it as Allah sometimes because of my accent and being lazy. And then two, once I say Allah, somebody will now come and say, yeah, I knew we were, I knew we were Muslim. Or something along those lines, right? Yeah, the Muslims are talking about us. That's and I don't want that either, right? So I say Anna. In my place, we say Ali. Right? I'm not used to saying Allah, right? But it's Allah, A-L-A, Allah. That's the earth, Allah, A-L-A, earth. Yeah. So, but yeah, Jada's answer was good too. Earth, water, those things are close. When I say Chuku's wills, the Chuku's way out there. Earth, water, it's all with us. We're all in the same world, exchanging with each other all the time. It's just how it is, right? But Chuku has already set things in motion, right? If somebody is bowling and they throw the bowling ball, there's nothing you can do to that person that threw the bowling ball that's going to change the direction the bowling ball is going to go, okay? I have a question. I'm interested in Igbo history and religion as a writer. Oh, I love that. Awesome. And I want to write about it. Do Igbos have anything like the Odyssey or the Iliad? Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Okay, so it's going to differ community to community, right? So different communities are going to have their own, right? We're going to have their own. I'm assuming, based on what I know about Igbo culture, I can promise you the Odyssey is one community's thing. It's not like a Greek thing. It's probably one community's story, right? And then from there, we interpret it as, oh, it belongs to all the Greeks. So every community is going to have its own little thing. But one of the really interesting stories is the story of Ojadili. I tell my son Ojadili stories all the time. And Ojadili, it's a story about a great wrestler that defeats everybody on Earth and then decides that because he has defeated everybody on Earth, that he has no more challenges on Earth, he's going to go to Alamur, the world of spirits, and he's going to wrestle against the spirits, right? So there's a short version of the Ojadili story, and there's an even shorter version, which is an Ilu, that says, as long as my ikenga is alive, I can wrestle in the world of spirits. All of the proverbs, all of the Ilu that I share, there's a big story that it comes from. It's usually a quote from us. It's an amazing thing. There's a big story. So that's the Ilu that belongs to that story, or one of the ones that belong to it. But Ojadili is traditionally told as a multiple day epic. So they tell it over many days. And Ojadili is this wrestler. He defeats everybody in the world. He goes into the world of the spirits. And then from there, different places tell it differently. Some people will say he wrestled a spirit with 7 heads. Others will say he wrestled 7 different spirits. Others say he defeats 7 spirits and then he meets his own chi and he has to wrestle his own chi, that kind of thing. And so eventually, the long version of the story, Ojadili has a partner, and the partner is a flute player, right? Um, and by the way, I don't want like, I don't want somebody to sit there and like, what Disney does, they get folk stories and they patent it or whatever. So don't do that. That's whack. But he has a friend that plays the flute, and he's kind of like the comic relief buddy. And his whole thing is that he's very cowardly, and Ojadili's very brave. But they're going on this adventure together because his flute gingers up Ojadili, makes Ojadili strong. But Ojadili, in different versions of the story, they differ. So in one version, he never returns, right? Because you can never defeat your chi. On another version of the story, he does return, but a scar is left on his back, and that's why there's a line down the back of most people. It's very prominent in African people, but there's a line that your spine, that little muscle line you have, is from the scar that was left on Ojadili. So that's an Iliad Odyssey kind of story, and so forth. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and I share them on the channel. But yeah, April, if you're a writer, I would message me. We can talk about Ojadili and that kind of thing. So many sacrifices in life. Yes, I hear you loud and clear, of course. Yeah, okay, I don't think that's for me. I've noticed that pattern. ARTs, I studied. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Uh, how does one commission an ikenga? I'm actually in the process of learning that. So Jada, I'm going to relay that information to you. Um, but because if you're a woman, leave the ikenga one. You know. Leave that for umu boys. We call them umu boys. That's the omomo. That is your seat of power, right? The omomo is your seat of power. I always get these people asking me, "Oh, ikenga, ikenga, ikenga." 9 out of 10 arushi in Igbo land are omomo. They're not ikenga. 9 out of 10. I'm going to say 9 out of 10. You're going to see a mound, right? That kind of thing, a mound. So that's the importance of that thing. That's it, at the heart of the Irish, at the very heart of it is the Aomumo. That's why so many. Oh wow, Igbo spirituality is so progressive. So many of the gods are women. That's yeah, I mean, kind of yeah. It's just that's the force that makes things happen. That's the force that makes things happen, right? So I'm learning how to commission ikenga as we like literally right now. As we speak, I'm learning that process, and when I'm done, I'll relay the information on them. Delayed gratification. Can time be considered a sacrifice? Absolutely, absolutely. Did human sacrifice occur? Yes, yes, human sacrifice occurred. Do you eat what you sacrifice? I'm laughing because the transition of those two. Oh shit! Do you eat what you, it depends on the situation, like your everyday casual. I'm giving my food. I'm giving my chicken. Yes, you eat. Sometimes you don't. Some things you don't. But yes, human sacrifice did occur in the past. You understand? And this is throughout the world, but definitely in Igbo land, right? How do you know your market day? It's so hard to find out. It is very difficult to find your market day. So there's a website that allows you to check your market day that some people use. Um, but like, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but it's very difficult to find out because these things don't factor like time zones and things like that. And when you start doing that math, you find that it's not as concise. So we need somebody who's a computer programmer to reach out to me so we can put together an algorithm that can actually help a person figure out their um, correct market day, excuse me, despite whatever. We'll make it free too. It'll be open source. That'll let people figure out their market day because you have to actually factor a lot of things like what physical place were you born, time zone, they did all these things. So yeah. But there's a website that helps you figure out your market day. And then some people intuitively know. Some people, especially Oriye people, they intuitively know, right? When I made my Nem marrying video, people reach out to me. My whole life I thought I was a mermaid. And I thought it was crazy and I kept it to myself. Those are Oriye people. They already know. That kind of thing. So shout out to them. You're not crazy. It's not, trust me, many people said the same thing you said. So does health of the animal matter? Like what if you had a what if you had a young thickened chicken? Would you yeah, it's symbolic. So I'm giving this big thing. I'm giving you my best chicken. It's symbolic. It's symbolic, right? No deity is like a stomach. Interesting. Okay. A thick chicken or a sick chicken. Nah, you said thick. Hey, I'm so behind. You guys are probably saying some stuff right, and I'm like still way in like I don't know whatever an hour ago was. Church women would be seeing. Yeah. Okay. So person says church women would be seeing DBs on a low. I'm going to tell you right now. There's no DBA you will talk to. Except things are changing now. A lot of young people that aren't into the church are going, but there's no DBA at home you'll talk to that will tell you that their number one customer is not women from church. That's just, just it's just what it is. It's women from church going on the low. People who are like a lot of older men. It's hard to say that somebody's an Odinani person. That doesn't make any sense, right? And the phrase Odinani has to be like, it's a new thing. It's a new phrase, right? That we have to use to describe this whole thing because now people want to be able to say I'm Catholic and Igbo, right? So now we have to be specific. But Odinani actually just means Igbo. Igbo means Odinani. It's the same thing, right? The original term for Odinani is Igbo. I'm an Igbo person, right? But people want to say I'm an Igbo Pentecostal. I'm an Igbo Mountain of Fire, Church of God, all that shit. So now we have to say, okay, Igbo Odinani, right? But most older men, especially like titled men, things like that, even if they go to church, they're Odinani people. And, because if it's time to do XYZ with the family, all fall, yada, yada, they'll do it. They typically, you always get them, some of you guys, and this might be your dad I'm talking about, but you'll get the one that won't. But typically, maybe 60, 70%, they'll do it. And those people don't tend to go to DBS, like ever. So that's why when my dad came to the guy that does Akaraka, he thought my dad was suspicious. He thought he was like thought he was the police. But it's usually like church women that go to DBS and things like that. D, thank you so much. D, you got D. You get to gobble itiri aka ọ ga-adị n'ụwa. Ọ ga-adị otu a na-eke n'orie n'afọ na nkwọ. He said, and Darius too. I hope you're still around, D. I want to retire financially well. Who and what should I sacrifice to? D, that's kind of a complicated question. So if you want to just message me, we can talk a little bit more. But if you want to retire financially well, there are many sacrifices you will make. But you are, if we want to just talk about purely spirituality, right? Of course, you're going to sacrifice like, time and energy and focus and all these different things. But if we want to talk purely like, what we now call spiritual, I would identify an ancestor who did what you're trying to do, right? I would identify an ancestor within your family, right? I want you guys to understand in Odinani, being Igbo, ancestor, Arushi, ancestor, Arushi, right? That kind of thing. So you go to your ancestors first. You would identify an ancestor who actualized the life you're trying to actualize, and then you would work with that. You say, hey, I need you to guide me, right? I need you to work with me. I need you to walk with me, that kind of thing, right? And learn who that person was. Oh, they loved every Sunday, they loved smoking their cigarette and drinking a Coors Light. You give them their Coors Light. You bring them their cigarette. And you say, I need you to work with me. You learn who that person was. You do their will. Every Sunday, they would go to the church and they'd give candy to the kids. All right, I'm going to start doing that. Something like that. I don't need to necessarily do the exact same thing, but I need to do this person's will because I'm walking with that person's awful, right? So I would identify an ancestor who succeeded, who actualized the life you're trying to actualize, and I would work from there. If not, I would find somebody like a hero, a heru, an idol. They call them, oh, this one's my idol. I'd find that thing, right? I'm not saying go make sacrifices to like Beyonce and Billie Eilish and shit, right? But I'm saying like identify where it's been done before and work with said person. Now, a lot of if you grew up in the West, a lot of these people are Christian, so a sacrifice is not going to look like what it looks like in Africa, right? That kind of thing. Maybe you need to, I don't know, bring them holy water or something. You're meeting them as them. You're not meeting them based off, oh, well, I'm this now, so I'm not doing whatever. So, maybe a Christian would not like an animal sacrifice. And then, of course, don't violate the laws of your state. Don't violate the laws of your state or county or country. Don't violate that kind of thing, all that. So, yeah. If you guys, I swear to God, if one of you guys gets me arrested, I'm coming to your trial and I'm coming to your trial and you're gonna lose. You understand? That kind of thing. So that kind of thing. Just don't do nothing wild. You know how to behave. So the Alfal staff ikenga statues aren't spirits in themselves, but physical representations of concepts. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, some people say, I mean, what's a spirit, right? Person 11. What's a spirit, right? Yeah, the ikenga, all those things. They're concepts, but spirits are concepts, right? That kind of thing. Such a powerful name. Thank you. Ain't nothing on earth deeper than African spirit. Ain't nothing on earth deeper than African spirituality. You're 100% right. Derek, what does Ife Miri mean? Ife is like to revere, venerate, worship. Ife Miri, so like maybe it's like people who like people like there's like they're like small little religions in Odinani, right? And so there's people who are connected to the water. So maybe that's who you're talking about, Ife Miri. Maybe I don't know. Ife Miri. Or maybe you're saying Ofe. If it's Ofe, that's a derogatory term for a Yoruba person. Is it Ofe? I don't know. I don't get into derogatory terms anymore, man. That's childish. But I think Ofe was a derogatory term for Yoruba people. But Ife is like somebody who worships water, that kind of thing. Is it Ofe? Ofe Mano. Okay, my bad. It's Mano. Okay, my bad. It's Mano. My bad. That's it. It's a derogatory term. All the groups in Nigeria have derogatory terms for each other, that kind of thing. So, Sarge came online. Problem sacrificing brawlers. I don't know what a brawl. Oh no, I don't know what a brawler is. We don't use that term here in the U.S. So I don't know what a brawler is. Is it better to sacrifice local chicken? It's the same. Okay, so I'm thinking brawler is probably like a Greek or maybe like a foreign chicken, right? I don't think your ancestors have, if that's what it is, I don't think they have that weird Nigerian, it's foreign, it's better hierarchy mind that's going on. That's new, kind of thing. A chicken is a chicken. But I don't know what a browler is. If you can tell me what a browler is, I'd appreciate it. I don't know livestock that well. They're both spirits, object, consonants. Okay. I'm going to try to scroll fast. Nat Turner is literally one of my inspirations. Inspiration. That's what that's spire. The spire the spire in, the spire in inspiration is spirit. That's all it is, right? Sometimes I don't want anybody to think this thing is like too foreign from how you already live your life. But gaining knowledge of it can actually help you live more deliberately. That's actually what you're doing. You're not finding something new. It's already there, right? Whether you know it or not. But if you know it, you can walk more deliberately. If the light is on in the room, you can go pick up your keys a lot easier than feeling around in the dark and hoping you get there on time and that kind of thing, right? So inspiration, it's the same thing, spirit. Taking in a spirit. Oh, that's my inspiration. That's the spirit I take in, right? So if you are going to be a bodybuilder, right, and maybe you're inspired by Hulk Hogan, then that's the spirit you're working with, whether or not you want to call it that kind of thing. Now, when I say it in those terms, it sounds kind of like, but you already do it anyway. You're already doing it. Now you can be more deliberate. Because a lot of times you're being made to inspire things that don't inspire you. All right? If you're not aware of these things, it's easy to hold your face and shovel things in your mouth, right? That kind of thing. Oh, okay, we're gonna celebrate Columbus today. We're gonna celebrate Christopher Columbus today, right? Why is that important? Why do you have to do that? What does that mean? What does that spirit perpetuate? If I said earlier that if you identify a spirit, start working with it, and you do its will, what was the will of that spirit that I'm celebrating right now? All right? What's the will of that particular spirit? Okay, because I'm going to do it. Whether or not I consciously say, I can say it's bad all I want, but once it's time to make a decision, that spirit's going to say, hey, go left. Well, that's right. Go right. Hey, go right. I gotta see. I can see you. Connection's fine. Okay, cool. The NPC there. Yeah, gang. If your father, while alive, does not follow traditional practices due to religion, when he passes, should Efe or Awu be sacrificed for him anyways? Pay him his respects when he passes. Absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, pay him if you want to sacrifice to your father. But it's like there's this thing that we're doing at home, And I'm specifically speaking to everybody at home right now. And by home, I don't mean the wilderness of North America. I mean home, right? So the people at home, there's a thing that people are doing, right? Because sacrifice is the most visual and loud part of Odinani, it's the easiest thing to see and know. People think that once you become an Odinani person, the next thing you need to just start massacring chickens and massacring goats and putting Fanta bottles in rivers and shit. You have to like this. Take it easy. Take it easy. When your ancestors were sacrificing, they were killing the chicken that they are going to eat, and they are offering the first thing that comes to it to their ancestors, right? And then they're going to go ahead and cook the chicken and so on and so forth. Now, Chukudi, the only exceptions as far as paying your father respects in this regard or saying your father's name as an ancestor in this regard is if your father committed any type of aru, right? Which I don't believe he did, right? And then your community knows what the aru is and they know how to treat it. It's not something that's done in secret, right? If your father committed any type of known aru, because a lot of Christians commit aru, they'll go and start burning arushi and chopping up offal and burning this and burning. They immediately they go to some church and they get energized and they start destroying shit. If your father did that, leave him alone. If your father was one of those guys, leave him alone. He committed aru. So if you're inspired by this spirit, you're going to also commit aru, whether or not you know it, right? If he did something like that, leave it alone. But if he just was a Christian person, he lived a Christian life, and go ahead and pay him his respects, right? Now, in paying him his respects, maybe if you want to give something specifically to your father, it may not be a sacrifice like alcohol or nama or anything like that, right? You have to think of something else. Maybe he had a drink that he liked to drink, right? Maybe he had something he particularly liked to eat. So you prepare it for him, and you leave it out there for him in his honor and in his name, that kind of thing, right? You can sacrifice for him also in your own actions by living his will, that inspired, right? Now, if his will was you need to go to church, okay, you guys can negotiate. He's not your God, right? Unless you want to go to church, go to church, that kind of thing, right? So if he was one of them Christians that are going around burning everything and cutting down trees and blood of Jesus, if he's one of those guys, he's likely committed our leave him alone, right? That kind of thing. And I typically don't say this, but that kind of thing. So when I say my hands are clean, right? Part of my hands are clean means I'm not associating with things that don't have clean hands or people that don't have clean hands, right? That kind of thing. I have a question. I'm a writer. Okay, I already answered that one. Awesome. Hey, not a Florida man. South DC are good. Animals get got every day in the South. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm very comfortable in Texas. NYC has specific laws, though. Yeah, that NYC boy. But anyways, I'm not going to encourage anything. Check the laws of your local municipalities and follow that. I don't want to hear the guy on YouTube told me to kill this fucking dog or something like that. How do you do? You don't give libations to Chuku. You don't give libations to Chuku. Chuku is not interested in your libation. Anything. Our ancestors don't focus on Chuku because our understanding of Chuku is very different. You understand? Chuku has already done. Chuku is anything Chuku wants done, it's done. Now, if you want to give thanks to Chuku, you say it, you just say it. I give thanks to Chuku for what happened. I give thanks to Chuku for this and this and that. But you don't say, hey, Chuku, I can't find my keys. I need your help. You don't you don't pour libations to Chuku, that kind of thing. You don't give sacrifice. You don't sacrifice to Chuku. You just use your mouth and say, I thank you, Chuku, so on and so on and so forth. Right? I acknowledge Chuku. When I said Eke Kerua, Okike Kerua, that's what I'm doing. Right? You just use your mouth and give acknowledgments. If you want to give something physical, a kola nut is fine. Kola nut is fine. Oji is fine. If you say Chuku's name when you're blessing, when you're doing Iwaji, when you're breaking the kola nut, that's fine. It's adequate. You understand? But like I said earlier, think of Chuku in the ancestral sense like a bowler. The bowler has already thrown the ball. There's nothing you can say to the bowler that will change what's going to happen, what they intended for that ball to do. And that bowler called Chuku has precise aim. It's going exactly where it's supposed to go. That kind of thing. So no, you don't really do libations to Chuku. It's not a Chuku thing. It's not that you can't say Chuku and pour a libation. It's not a bad thing. It's not going to happen, but you're not going to like die. It's not like against the Igbo law or whatever. But when you're pouring libations, it's for everything else. It's not really, if you want to say Chuku, fine, whatever. But Chuku and libations, it doesn't matter. All right. My dialect is Ale. Okay, Ale. Okay, yeah. I can't say GH. I have a hard time saying GH. I actually want to sign up for Igbo 2 in Kedu because Igbo 2 is where you work at your pronunciation. So let's see. If we have seats available by the end, I'll probably sign up. So two sides of the same coin, interesting perspective on them. Off topic, but do you have thoughts on the government revealing UFOs? I think it's funny nobody cares. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing what's going on. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's just too much BS going on, man. you know. Yeah, it's interesting that nobody cares. Um, we'll see. You know. You think? Okay, I already answered the Oshimiri question. Can I make a full video on Oja? Absolutely. So, organic African paradigm. If you want me to make a video, go to one of my videos and just say, can you make a video on Oja or whatever you want me to make a video on? Because when I'm making my videos, I go to all the comments. I can check recent comments on YouTube, and then I put the requests for vote on Patreon, right? So if you want me to make a video and you ask me here now, I'm not going to remember. you can do it as a comment. Now, African organic paradigm, if you want to just cut the line, just message me on Patreon if you're a patron. Message me on Patreon, then we'll put it up for vote. I'll do them. Have you started watching Avatar? No, Jada, I haven't. I haven't. um, I kind of want to have an Igbo movie or show night. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Black people are so spiritual, no matter where you find them. It's the truth. It's the truth. Um, Funny enough, Jada, I mean, not to be repeating myself too much, but we actually do movie nights at Kedu. We do movie nights at Kedu. So if you're interested, we're here. www.kedu.me. So we do it there, but having one here, that might be cool, or on Patreon, that'd be cool. I don't have any men who are practicing or denying the okay, maybe that's not for me. Do the Igbo have something equivalent to griots? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so people who like memorize and tell history, yes, absolutely. Very many, very, very many. So there's like town choirs, they carry an ekwe, which is like a talking drum. And they announce things, they tell history, those types of things. A lot of our nzes and also like the real ones, not these like Virgin Mary also that they're making these days, but the real ones are like walking encyclopedias of our tradition, history, and things like that. So yeah, there's many. We have the same thing as griots. It's universal in Africa. Ah man, so the teacher Chimeze, I want to say that the teacher at Kedu, but previous teacher at Kedu, who I'm gonna eventually get him back, so don't worry guys. But a previous teacher at Kedu, he used to be a member of the Masquerade Society called Okurosha, and he called me the other day, and he was kind of teaching me about how Okurosha is what we now call the media. And so there's people in what the Okurosha does is it goes from place to place and it tells everything that's happened this year, right? It tells everything that's happened this year. But the thing about Okurosha is different because Okurosha has spies in the community. The society, it's a secret society, and there's spies. So if people have done like abominations or bad things, they'll report it to the Okurosha Society, and then that day, the Okurosha is going to come out and start airing out everybody's business. Right? There's an ilu that says all news finds its way to the marketplace. All stories find its way to the marketplace. Right? So no matter what you did, try to keep it secret. It's going to end up in the market somehow. So Okurosha simulates that particular thing. But yeah, we have griots and all that. So I don't know. A lot of masquerades function as griots too. They'll sit down and start telling a story, and they'll start telling what happened in the past and things like that. The movie Apocalypto introduced me to human sacrifice. It was intense. Yeah, man, it's intense, man. I'm kind of happy it's not a thing that happens anymore. So, but in the past, yeah, it was a part of our culture. But yeah, of course, it doesn't happen anymore. It's not a thing that happens anymore. So if you want to visit Nigeria, you're safe. Don't worry. Nobody's gonna offer you to fucking whatever. Or born Oriya Day, big market day of Oba, and my mom had nobody home. Okay, yeah. So yeah, son of Nook. That's awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, so Aniaya says, Aniaya, I keep wanting to pronounce your name very Africanly, so it's all good. Same, yeah, same here in America. Church women shun the two-headed doctors. Think of that name, two-headed doctor, two-headed doctor. In Igbo thoughts, in Odinani, the spirit of the dibia, the spirit that is in control of a dibia is Agun. Agun is a two-headed spirit. In America, in the Black American tradition, a root worker is called a two-headed doctor. Think about that, right? Cool. So, same in America, church women shun two-headed doctors and healers, but visit them on the low. I've seen this within my family. And if you go to the two-headed doctor and ask who comes to you the most, right? Oh, yeah, that's Sister Abigail. Right, Sister Abigail, she's the one that comes the most. But if she hears somebody else did it, she'll go gossip about them, that kind of thing. Derek, if you're born in one country slash time zone but conceived in another side of the planet? How does it affect your market day? Creative force is a really good question. Because like for example, if you're doing the market days are based on the time in Igbo land, right? It's based on time in Igbo land. So Eke Day begins in the middle of, let's say, Thursday, and then Uriye begins like, and it's still Thursday, but then it that kind of thing. So the time of the day you were born, it may be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in America, but at home, it's not going to be, it may not be, the next day hasn't started yet, right? I'm born at 2 a.m. Well, technically it's still Eke, you understand? It's not that kind of thing. So it's complicated, right? So what if you want to, if this is any computer programmer, take this, please take this. It's free. I'm not going to sue you. If you want to figure out an algorithm that figures out your market day, it would have to factor where you were born and what time you were born, which most of us have records in America anyways, have records of that. I was born here. If you're born in Igbo land, don't worry about anything I'm saying. The day was the day, right? But if you're born outside of Igbo land, you'd have to put that kind of thing, and you'd have to factor it because the market day, the day in Igbo land and the day in America are not perfectly aligned. If you now have that lack of alignment over a period of 30 years, 25 years, 45 years, all of us, the divergence, right? I hope I'm not being too complicated or I'm saying too much, but the divergence is going to be so wide that it's not going to be accurate, right? So if they're just a little bit different from each other each day, that all those differences are going to add up. And over 30 years, if you now think you're going to use, okay, I was born on Thursday, March 11th. What's Thursday, March 11th in Igbo land? Oh, it was Eke Day. Well, no, not really, because there's this little incremental thing that increases the gap over time. So it becomes the older you are, the less likely you are to trace it back accurately. I don't know, I'm saying too much. But if you're a programmer, message me, let's talk. Hell, you can even have it, right? I just need this thing made. But there are like 4 or 5 different factors that once you put them in alignment and then enter your market day, it should tell you an accurate one. But you have to factor those things, location, time, that kind of thing. So, will. Hey, man. No, almost. I'm still alive. So, what deity will use a turtle for a sacrifice? Turtle, Aghon, Ekwensu. Turtle is related to Aghon and Ekwensu, but it depends what you want to do, right? And in Igbo, we don't really sacrifice lizards too often, like reptiles. Local government, national government, ancestral, maybe. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, good. Creative force, perfect. Local government over national government equals ancestor over Arashi, exactly, because it's closer to you. Because it's closer to you, right? It's yours. What happens with your ancestors affects your life way more than what happens with, something that's big and cosmic and covers everybody. Ademma. Oh, okay. Rule of thumb for animal sacrifice: go outside of city limits. Man, you guys are gonna be shut down for animal cruelty. What your fucking. America has the weirdest mentality about animals I've ever seen in my life, right? That's why we don't ever win any wars. Me and my brother joke about this all the time. Like you're sending a bunch of people to Vietnam that if they see a dog die, they'll be in therapy for like 6 years. Versus a person that every morning, just cook that thing up, that kind of thing. That's why we don't win wars, man. Right? That kind of thing. We can't do that. We're not meant to. It's an ancestral's name. I don't know where she's from though. Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling. I think I'm not seeing question marks. Most people just do super chats, by the way, right? They just answer the question in super chats, and frankly, I think I'm going to switch to that system because this is getting it's a little disorganized. Derek, do you give animal sacrifice? I've never done animal sacrifice. No. When I go home, I will though, right? But I've never done it here. I don't know if it's legal here or not, but really, I don't like. It reminds me when I was little. Anyways, they can't arrest my dad. He's not even in the country anymore. When I was little, my dad would buy like goats from like the Native Americans, and we would like kill them and eat them and that kind of thing. And I remember like all the white kids used to come to our house and be like, "Oh, Derek got a pet goat. He got a pet goat." And it just that goat was like this big hit in the neighborhood, and everybody kept like calling each other, "Come check it out. He got a real pet. It's a little goat." That kind of thing. And I'm looking at him like, man, I'm about to eat this. Oh man, I don't know what you guys are talking about, man. I'm about to eat this thing because where I was living at, we couldn't get goat meat, you know. And so yeah, so that's I mean that's the closest I've come, but it wasn't a sacrifice. It was just we gotta eat. We're gonna eat this, you know. It happened two times. The second time it happened, one of the neighbors called the police because we had a goat in our backyard, and then animal control set came and said we got 24 hours to get rid of it. My dad said no problem. So yeah, but I've never done a sacrifice. It just hasn't occurred, that kind of thing. I need to buy a house, right? Um, I need to buy a house first, you know, that kind of thing. When one is hungry, suddenly one can find food better. But when I go home, it's one of the first things I'm going to do, and then from there I'll begin that tradition in myself. $1 for your answer. I'll give them okay, I think I'm skipping questions. This is really disorganized, y'all. Hold up. No, it's no fault of you guys. I just thought it would work a little smoother. Okurisha sounds like how Papoose the rapper does a yearly review and everything. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, Papoose is channeling Okurisha energy. Yeah. So that's what Okurisha does. So it'll oh god, he was telling he was a part of the whole thing, and so he's telling me like it'll come out and start just talking about this person was sleeping with that person, and this person has been stealing this from that person this long, and yada yada yada. And the Okorisha never lies because if the Okorisha constantly says, "If I lie, I die. If I lie, I die." That kind of thing. So it doesn't lie, right? He just comes and gathers all the information. Right? All the neighborhood snitches go to Okorisha and give the full report. The Okorisha comes and is bound by truth. Life or death, bound by truth. The Okorisha comes and says everything that happened so that all of our and most of it is comedy. Most of it's funny. People laugh and yeah, kind of thing, and so forth. So yeah, there's no sneaking around in Okorisha community. I have my community. We do Okorisha, so there's no sneaking around when that comes. It sounds like weird question, but are there stories of conjoined twins in Igbo land? Not that I know, but I couldn't imagine it would be a good thing. Like it'd be a grim story to tell. I'll talk about twins sometimes. I'll talk about twins sometime, but it'll be grim, right? It's pretty grim. We didn't have the most admirable tradition when it came to twins. Yes, thank you. I get the complexity now. Okay, dope. History is so deep. There's so much to learn. All the voodoo conjures primarily practiced by Bantu Congo and Mbund origin. But other groups have mixed it, especially southwestern Nigeria, like Igbo, Ibibio. That's dope. I didn't know that. But like whether it's Bantu or we're talking about Senegal, it's all the same thing. We're all saying the exact same thing. It's the same thing. It's based on reality. So it's if I'm talking about Earth, the Bantus are going to talk about the Earth, and they're going to say something similar to what I'm going to say, right? It's all the same thing. So like, yeah, it's interesting that they came from all these different places. I like that. I see a lot of Igbo in like very Igbo like signature traditions in Hoodoo and Obe specifically. Not so much with Santeria and things like that, but it's all the same thing. It's just like flavoring. Like the reason I don't know, like I know this is Yoruba because they make the eyes big in their figures. That's just, but eyes, whatever, same thing. So when does a day begin in Igbo land? A day begins when a man wakes up. That's what our ancestors say. No, the day begins when the market opens. The day begins when the market opens. You're talking about time dilation. Okay, cool. All right, that's the term for it. The U.S. can't talk about animal cruelty with the meat industry here, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's just silly. Like we have this our attitude about animals and food. It's just like everything in this country is this is an amazing place because it's strictly about getting money. Like there's nothing. It's just what it's a lick. Hold on a minute. America is a damn business, right? It's not no damn country. It is a self perpetuating thing, like just tidal wave of ripping people off and getting paid. That's what. So yeah, so and one of the things that happens in America is that okay, so something becomes condemned socially, then it becomes condemned illegally, and then like a few people get a license where they get to now sell it back to you, right? It gets to sell it back. The most crazy, like the one everybody looks at, is like what the hell is like rainwater? It's illegal to collect rain. For those of you in Nigeria, it's illegal to collect rainwater in many states in America. You can't collect your own rainwater. You understand? And the tap water, you can't drink it because it has so much things in it that you're gonna think twice. So then you're going to go now buy the bottled water. You have to buy it. You go buy the water. You can't collect the water. So it's raining. You get in your car. You drive. You collect the rainwater. You go. And they have inspectors. They'll go drive into people's houses, see if they're collecting rainwater. Somebody was arrested. Not arrested, sorry. They were fined because they have this big container and they won't get rid of it. So the guy just pays the fine because in his head, this is what I'm hearing from a second source, it's cheaper to pay the fine than to buy bottled water all the time. So he just lets the rainwater gather and he uses that as his water and he pays the fine and so on and so forth. But that's him. I'm not encouraging anybody to break the laws in their municipalities and all that stuff. So don't break laws. But yeah, America's a very funny place. So that the animal thing, right? So you know, you get ideas like animal cruelty, all these different things. And because it's not just that animals are killed in America, because I'm talking about eating goats and things like that, and a lot of people are gonna like, oh man, I don't eat meat. It's like I understand why you don't do that, right? Because the way it's done here is so unbelievably wicked and disrespectful and painful that that's probably your first initial idea of just eating meat, right? It's just like you got this cow and you suck its brain out with a vacuum and it's still alive, and you start getting that kind of thing, and you're pumping pus out of the cow and things like that. That's not how it happens everywhere, right? It's sadly probably going to become how it happens everywhere, right? Because everybody, whatever America's doing, everybody's going to do it, right? That kind of thing. So if we want to change things, we change it here. We change it within. We change it here because everybody is on America's brainstem, right? That kind of thing. It's a whole different topic. But yeah, it's very funny. So like, oh, sacrifice. Oh, well, that's crazy. Sacrifice. No, you don't have to do sacrifice. It's blood. It's blood. It's blood. But then you'll go and you'll get the chicken in the pack and it's got no blood in it anymore. It's just it doesn't smell for some reason. This thing's been dead for 2 weeks. It doesn't smell. If it smells, I get mad. If there's a smell, I'll get mad and I'll complain. And they'll give me my money back and they'll write me an apology because the dead animal smells, right? But I don't want it to smell because that means it's rotting because somebody killed it in Wyoming. They got to drive it over here. But if I kill my own right here where I'm at and I cook it, I'm crazy and I'm a bad person. I need to go to jail and this and this and that kind of thing, right? So, but based on your religion, based on your laws, you can do what you want, but it's a very funny place. There's nothing good or bad here. It's not a moral whatever. It's just somebody is getting paid to do something and they're just really good at marketing. Americans are amazing marketers. Like we're so good at marketing that we've America's taken over the world just off marketing, just convincing you of some shit. That's why I said whatever America's doing, everybody's going to do it, right? If America decides tomorrow that eating people is okay, it's just what it's going to be, right? That kind of. So yeah, it's just crazy. Oh, the quince where I gonna use a turtle for? I don't know. You guys asked. All right. West Africans love goat meat. Is it just like us Jamaicans? Especially curry hours, rice, and hey, man, you're making me hungry saying what you're saying. Don't tell that Mary Sassior's propaganda about Igbos and twins was right. It's no, it's not right, but there is some correctness in it, right? So Mary Sizier, or whatever her name was, she didn't stop the killing of twins in Igbo land, right? By the time she arrived, the practice was already phased out fairly naturally within Igbo land, though you'll find little communities that do it here and there. My evidence is in my own community, there are two families that can't marry each other. And the reason they can't marry each other is because 6 generations ago, they were twins. And what we used to do is we would separate the twins, right? One twin has to live over here, one twin has to live over there, and their families can never come together. So throughout Igbo land, you get these situations where my family can't marry from that family, this and this and that. That's tends to be the reason, right? Mary Cilicia or whatever didn't come to Igbo land. I think she went to Arochukwu, and she wasn't doing anything pertaining to twins, whatever, in Arochukwu. But if you want to know the actual story, she's a spy. She's a spy for the British and just all that kind of thing, yada yada. So, but that's all propaganda and stupidity. The British have to say that crazy things are happening in Africa so that they can take the report back to the British government. And the British government allows them to continue, the colonizers, to continue doing what they're doing, right? Oh, they're doing this bad thing, but we came in and we stopped it. Okay, great. Here's your funding. Keep going. Just like here in America, if you're in America, nonprofits, they got to give reports and, hey, this is what we're doing, yada, yada, yada. Okay, keep doing what you're doing, that kind of thing. Because the colonial enterprise was not as profitable as they thought it was going to be. So then they took away the idea of this is going to make us money and started emphasizing this is a moral good. This is a moral good. And I keep selling that idea as a moral good. Then once the story started coming out that no, that's not what they're doing. It's not a moral good. They're doing this and doing that and doing things that Africans don't even know about, right? Doing a lot of weird things Africans don't even know was happening, but I got evidence of it. Now there's no argument. Now we can't keep this thing going anymore. Even the British government can't keep this thing going anymore. That kind of thing, right? So like in the very, very beginning times of colonial, like the Portuguese, things like that, they were writing reports about like tribes with like one eye, just like a cyclops. They're writing about people that were like half gorilla, half people. They're just sending back whatever they needed to send back to keep the funding coming. Keep the funding coming, right? That's all it is. I need to keep the funding coming. There's a report about Benin City in the 1500s. And the person is talking about Benin City like this is the most advanced thing I've ever seen. It operates on a mathematics that we are not aware of. This place is incredible. It's like 7 Amsterdams. And he's just saying all these things, right? And then there's one in the 1800s when they're going to go sack Benin City. Oh, it's a city of blood. There's blood everywhere. They're doing sacrifices. They're evil. Whoop, whoop. Give me funding so I can go attack them and end this evil. So a lot of that, Mary Celsius, it's all propaganda, right? But it has to be based on something. It's not completely fictitious, right? Whatever you learn about your ancestors, ask you, why did I learn that specific thing? That's the best way to navigate it. But yeah, the twins thing, there's truth to that. There's absolute truth to that. Yeah, hoodoo is hella Igbo, especially in Chesapeake area. Dope. All right. So that's what I thought. Chesapeake. All right, y'all, I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're reaching 2 hours now. It's crazy as hell. Fun fact, collecting rainwater is actually legal in Florida and South Carolina. Well done. Well done, Florida and South Carolina. That's good. Yeah. I think it's illegal where I'm at. That's where the story came from. There's a guy like just a few blocks up, and that's his story. He just keeps this big thing. He pays the fine. He collects the water. It's always been about conjuring lies to justify. Exactly. It's justification, right? I have to make this thing look like justice. So if you give me a job, and my job is to go to Africa and extract money, and I go there and it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be, I now have to go back and write a story that justifies me staying here. Because if I lose this, I lose my job. And this is a good job to have. It's a very good job to have. So you'll see I have a lot of colonial documents in my folder. The earliest ones are very much, we made this much money, they have these resources, yada, yada. The later ones are, this twin had tuberculosis and we gave him a shot. And it's like, okay, what's that transition? Why did you transition from money to humanitarian, even though it was all money? The tuberculosis people were taxing the most. They have all these resources. We're looking and seeing all the things they can eventually tax and steal and that kind of thing. Why did you switch? Because you weren't bringing back the type of money you had promised. So now you have to switch the story, justify it in a different way. It's like when we went to Afghanistan. They're going to delete this shit. It's like when we went to Afghanistan. I grew up my whole life with a certain idea about Islam. 100% of my idea about Islam came from the fact that hey, we need to warm these people up for blowing these people the hell up. We're gonna go to Afghanistan, we're gonna go to Iraq, yada yada yada. We gotta save the women. We gotta save the women. We gotta save the women. That was the big idea, right? To justify the thing, to save the women. We gotta save the women, right? And then when we were leaving, it didn't click. I'm in my 30s, and we're leaving Afghanistan. Like, oh, the Taliban are gonna do the women. The Taliban, the women, and it's like their moms. You think somebody's mother is scared that an invading armed foreign force that is killing millions of people is leaving because she has a son that's into Islam? I didn't even as a kid. I was like, wait, that's weird. Why? That doesn't even make any sense, right? Somebody's wife, somebody's daughter. That's what that's. You're gonna come into my house with guns and save my daughter from me because I want her to wear a hijab. What are we talking about? And it's funny, when I was in college, I dated a Muslim girl. That hijab is a flex. It's a flex. It's not a. It's a flex. It's not the equivalent. My bad. But like in America, what's the flex here? A fucking bag from Europe, China, right? Like, oh, he got her a bag. Look at that bag. Look at that bag she's got. You know, man, that costs 10,000. Only Suki Hana has that bag. You know, that's the flex here. There, it's okay. Wow, she's really pious. She's really on her deen. Ooh, you know. And let's get somebody with a gun to save her. So yeah, so that's just how the West was. Just they cast a spell. They convince you of some crazy shit, and then you go, okay. You go, oh man, this crazy shit's bad. What are we gotta stop this. We gotta stop this. Don't worry, I'll use this gun and kill them, and they'll like it. And then you go, bet, go. And then it gets done. Then afterwards you go, oh, that was bad. Whoa, that was bad. Too late, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was like I was a preteen. I'm like, oh, they're blowing up the towers. That's crazy. What? They don't let the women do this and the women do that, and the kids, they lose the kids. When they were blowing up Syria, they always had that picture of that kid that got blown up with all the dust on him. It's like, yeah, this is bad and this is happening, but why do I keep seeing this? Right? It's a war. This is just what happens in a war. If you tell me there's a war happening, I should assume this is happening. But you're sending me these little pictures. You know, look at this sad kid. He got blown up. Look, what was that? Malalia? Oh, they cut off her ear. What was that one? It's always women and kids. Oh, they cut off her ear. She's trying to go to school. They cut off her ear. Isn't that crazy? Let's go kill them so that they can finally be like us. So they can finally go on Reddit and argue and fucking eat goddamn Coca-Cola popsicles and shit. You know? Yeah, America's on. Whew. America is ill. It's funny that they're trying with Russia. It's not work. Everybody's like, we've seen this before. You know, the Russia thing. There you go. Okay, let me guess, they're bad too, right? Ooh. There's two people are fighting, and one's a bad guy and one's a good guy. Isn't that weird? I've never seen that in real life, you know. Because I think they try to convince all the other countries. Hey, look at us, and everybody said, "Hey, didn't you just did the same thing over there, fucking man, dude." I think it's the internet is what's messing it up, but they'll figure out a way to make that irrelevant, right? And they'll get back to because they're just good at that. This is a persuasive ass culture. And I'm not saying this. Listen, I'm impressed by America. Sometimes, like when they start some shit, I'm always like, there it goes. You know, like this. Let's see if it works. Hey, it worked. Oh wow, that's crazy. Okay, yeah. Now, Ice Cube's a coon. Ice Cube's a coon. Let's vote for Joe Biden. Ice Cube's a coon. Ice Cube, what do you mean you want him to sign a contract? What are you talking about, Ice Cube? Oh man, he's messed up. And then I was like, maybe we should have the contract. Too late. Nah, I got you. We'll catch you on the next one, right? I gotta think. So yeah, I have fun talking about this. Anytime I start getting too gingered like this, I know it's time to go. So so again, this is Derek with the Medicine Shell. I teach about Igbo spirituality. If you're interested, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, And if you want me to just let it flow and not cut off that much, go ahead and join the Patreon, patreon.com/the medicine show. We're saying whatever the hell we want in there. Uh, we're saying whatever the hell we want in there, at our group studies and things like that. But yeah, if you want to learn the Igbo language, sign up at www.kedu.me. It's my Igbo language school. But in general, I really appreciate you guys for being here. I'm going to read a few comments. I'm going to head off, man. America's marketing genius, what we're talking about. Yeah. I read Hitler's book, and Hitler was talking about how, like, Germans are so stupid that when we want to kill people, we just start talking about how we're going to kill them. But America killed all the Indians, and nobody's even asking any questions. Why can't we kill people the way the Americans do? Why can't we be better at propaganda, right? That kind of thing, you know? Oh, shit. Yeah, man. 1K bag for Indonesia. Yeah, yeah, 1K, 10K. Man, he bought that for goddamn Chloe Bailey, you know? That is what that is in your head. That's what, oh wow, look at her. Man, she's on her, man. She must be a politician's wife, right? She must be Bin Laden's wife. Right? You know, when you're close to that, I was never in it, but I was close to that culture and I saw how it actually worked. I was like, oh, and it wasn't the men saying you should wear hijab, it was the older women. 100% of the men don't care. The men don't care. It's the older women. Oh, look at her. She's not wearing, yeah, man, look at her, man, look at that thing. When you see the hijabis at the hijabi corner at their table, you'll know I'm wearing. There's people, Igbo people say there's people who own a land, right? Uh-huh. Just like when in Texas, I remember I was at this oil thing and they had all the white dudes with the cowboy hats, and they're just on their corner. I'm like, okay, those are guys that own Texas, right? Hijabis, okay, those are the ones that own it. Listen, if there's people are leaving. All right, let me shut up. All right, y'all. I'm having fun, man. Okay, I got one more. I got one more. Listen, I've been close enough. Like I said, my first serious relationship was a Muslim girl. I'm gonna tell you right now, if there's a multi-billionaire and a person who sleeps on the floor, but everybody knows he's on point with his Islam. If the guy who sleeps on the floor stands up and speaks, the billionaire has to shut the fuck up. That's how that culture works. That's what they value. Let's blow them up. No, it's not good. Anyways, man. All right, uno gadi, uno geto, nkobara, uno tiaka, I'll gadi nuwa. I'll gadi utwaneke, no, ask me about J. Cole passport. I'll gadi utwaneke, no, na fault, na mko. He said, take care, guys.